Hey guys, what's up? This is Jake at OnDogTrainingAcademy.com. We are not going to be doing any fancy intro for this week's episode. What we want to focus on is what's going on over in Ukraine and thinking about, not only are we thinking about the people, because of course we are, all of us are, and I'm sure a lot of you are following what is happening over there, but we also are keeping in mind the animals that are going to be affected with this as well. And since we are a dog training podcast, we are a dog training YouTube page, this is kind of where I wanted to take this week's episode. So again, no fancy intro, nothing like that. What I want to get into is ways that we can help, directly help the Ukrainian animals that are trying to come, whether it be coming out of Ukraine or staying in Ukraine. How can we help? Because I like many people, as we sit here in America, we feel kind of helpless. You know, we can push our politicians to do whatever we want to do, or whatever we want them to do, but really we feel helpless. Like, how can we? We're not going to go over there and fight. What can we do? How can we help? And, donating money to these certain organizations to help their animals is definitely a way that we want to help out. You obviously can reach out and donate money other places and do other things. Just continuing to keep this out there so that people, and I don't think people will, but people don't forget about what is going on over there, and obviously the long-term effects that this is going to have on families, on kids, children, parents, everybody, but including their animals. And yes, we are a dog training page, but this is all animals, whether it's fish or reptiles or birds or dogs or cats, you name it. And all animals are important. We care about all animals, and so this episode is going to be ways that we can help. So what I'm going to be doing is kind of going through shortly here a list of different organizations that I have come across that are helping Ukraine and helping the animals. And when we talk about Ukraine, we need to not just think about Ukraine as a thing. Remember, there's millions of people now crossing borders and going into all these other countries. And so all these other countries also need help, because although they're trying to do their part, because typically like Poland and some of these other countries have pretty strict entry laws when it comes to animals. So what they make the dog proof of vaccinations for rabies. Some of them have quarantines for a couple weeks, things like that. Now, thankfully, a lot of these countries are loosening up, I guess you could say, or just completely getting rid of these restrictions for now, because they want to eliminate some stress on the families. Because personally, I know if I wasn't allowed to be able to take my dog with me, I just wouldn't go. And that's obviously dangerous for people, but there's a lot of people who are feeling the same way. I was reading something about this coffee shop that has a bunch of cats and stuff like that. I think it was in Kiev. I could be wrong on that, but it also might, well, either way, it's in Ukraine. And they are unwilling to leave their cats behind. And they have a lot of cats there, so they are staying. Now, as you know, some people might say, well, that's just foolish, whatever, but these are animals and we love our animals. And, especially for us, we don't have children. These animals are our children. And so this just kind of tugs at my heartstrings a little bit. And so that's why I wanted to cover this stuff. Like I said, a lot of the countries are loosening restrictions, which is fantastic to help these people be able to bring their animals across. But that means they need money. That means they need help, because if you think about rescues and different organizations here in the U.S., that they struggle at times financially. And now you can imagine these other places, like I said, over in Europe, that are taking in these refugees and their animals, how much more strapped they're going to be. So this is one way that we can help. So I'm just going to be going through a few different, I've got a list here that I wrote down of rescues and stuff that are directly working, I believe, with Ukraine or with Europe in different areas that could allocate the funds out appropriately. First one is the Humane Society here. They are working with Ukraine. There are some more direct options as well. UAnimals, and I'll do my best to compile this list and put links in the description. So make sure you guys check that out. The animal welfare organization UAnimals is supporting animal shelters and zoos across the country. Because, yeah, you got to remember, Ukraine and stuff, there's just more than just family pets. There's also pets that zoos and everything else have. But help feed animals and get them out of the country. You can say, well, it's easy. You put a cat or you put a dog in a kennel and you get out of there. But what do you do with the bigger animals, the animals that are at zoos, the animals that are in sanctuaries, places like that? What do you do with them? And this sounds like this organization is helping with that. So UAnimals. Happy Paws is an organization supporting shelter animals across Ukraine, coordinating supply deliveries, helping feed pets who are still in the country. Because, I mean, you've probably seen some videos. There's a lot. And I don't know what Ukraine's stray dog problem is. Maybe they have one. I don't know. I haven't dug into it that much. But you've seen a lot of dogs, a lot of animals running around. And that might just be because people are fleeing and they can't or don't think they can take their animals with them. And so they basically just set them loose and just hope for the best. And unfortunately, whether it's through starvation or injury from everything, a lot of these animals aren't making it. So Happy Paws is an organization that works, that is in Ukraine, that's supporting Ukraine, coordinating deliveries and stuff like that. So keep them in mind as well. There's going to be some names here that I will probably botch, but again, I'll put these in the description because these are ones from over in Europe or over in Ukraine, and well, I can hardly read normal English, so this might be difficult for me. There's a shelter, this is one of them, the shelter Ugolyok, Ugolyok. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it again. I'll just put it in the description. This farm sanctuary and animal rescue is trying to ensure its hundreds of animals survive the Russian attack. So this is a shelter there that has a lot of large animals like we were just talking about. So being able to donate to them, to be able to help them, is going to definitely help make sure they stay fed. Hopefully they stay safe, and keeping the people there. Like we're donating to help animals, but this is also making sure the people stay fed and they stay clothed and they stay warm, they stay whatever, hydrated, everything, so that they can care for these animals. The International Fund for Animal Welfare, IFAW, this is a bigger one. It's partnering with shelters in Ukraine to care for animals still in the country while helping the ones who are able to escape. So this is kind of a two-prong attack here. They're trying to help the animals that are there, that people who aren't leaving or can't leave, and they're also working on the ones that can leave. Again, this is helping other countries that are going to need our help when it comes to caring for animals. Otherwise, there's going to be a mass issue with disease and illness and everything else just from basic vet care that these animals will need. Casa Ui Patroclus, again, I'm not even going to try it. I'll put it in the description. This Romanian nonprofit is helping to find shelters, veterinary assistance, and housing for animals reaching the country's border. So if you're getting to Romania, there's going to be organizations that you can donate to that are going to help, of course, with getting these animals cared for. And again, this money is going to be great. If I was a vet, I wish I was a vet. A veterinarian, I should say. I would love to be able to go over and help, because I mean, think about the U.S. right now, how hard it is to just get a vet appointment in like a month. They're so busy and they're so swamped. Well, imagine now the vets that are going to be really dealing with stuff with all of these people coming out of Ukraine. Another one is SIRIUS, 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 one of Ukraine's largest animal shelters based north of Kiev, is still caring for animals and needs donations to continue. So north of Kiev, I mean, if you've been watching news at all, you know what's been going on north of Kiev. Like it's been really bad. So hopefully, and I definitely recommend you guys do your research before you're donating. Don't just take my word for it here. Do your own research and figure out which ones you want to donate to. But this one I think is a good one, just because it's right in there. It's one of Ukraine's largest animal shelters. North of Kiev, we know north of Kiev has been getting hit a lot and has been having a lot of Russian issues. So if we're able to get stuff to them, food, medical supplies, things like that for their animals, that is going to be massively helpful. And not, again, make sure, and this sounds terrible, but we have to make sure when you're doing these things, when you're sending money, make sure SIRIUS is able to take your money, because if Russia takes it over, there's obviously issues with that as well. Next one then is Shelter Friend Ukraine. The shelter is in central Ukraine and cares for 600 dogs. 600 100 dogs. It is a massive operation there. So Shelter Friend Ukraine is another one. I'll see if there's any more here on this list. It looks like that's about it for that. But I just want you guys to really, think about it. And again, if you're donating money to other causes to help the people, that is fantastic. That I'm not, of course. But for us animal lovers who are sitting here feeling absolutely helpless, this is something we can do. Me putting out this episode is something small, but it makes me feel like I'm trying to do something, which makes me feel like I just feel better about trying to do this as opposed to just sitting and watching the news and just being mad. And so I think that's what we all should be doing. We can watch the news. We want to stay educated. We want to stay up to date with what's going on, but take that anger and put it towards doing something. Create your own podcast and get the word out. Go on social media and just share, whether you share this. This isn't about views, whether you share this or if you share someone else's or you share an article, you do something. Like, get out ways that we can donate, whether it's to people or animals. I think this is the best way for now that we're able to help out what's going on over there. Also, I have heard of people renting out Airbnbs over in Ukraine so that those people can get direct funds, but obviously they're not going to go over and stay in Ukraine. They're just trying to find ways to directly get money into the hands of the people that need it. I would say personally, I would look at organizations as opposed to individuals when it comes to donating, because the organizations are going to be able to get these camps together, get these areas together, and be able to allocate the funds more appropriately. I love donating to individuals and helping them, but I think right now the individual's main concern is just getting out or being safe, and they're not really thinking quite as much about money at this moment. I could be wrong, but it's just my thought. So anyways, guys, I hope this episode was helpful. Make sure you share this. Share this with your friends and family. Again, this isn't about likes. This isn't about subscribing. There's nothing like that. This is about getting the word out on how we can help these animals that are also going to be greatly, greatly affected by everything that's going on. And if you don't want to donate to dogs or cats or animals or bird, whatever, if you don't donate or do something to help, just do something. Anything is better than nothing. Let's make sure that Ukraine is safe and that we can have Ukraine back. So, so hopefully, guys, this was helpful. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.